I must have still been living under a rock when this was announced, but 2 years ago, IO Interactive released this teaser trailer for their upcoming James Bond game, Project 007. Yep, you heard me right, for their upcoming James Bond game. In a recent interview with Edge, IO Interactive revealed new details. It will be closer to Daniel Craig's Bond rather than the older eras of Roger Moore. The magazine also quoted IO Interactive CEO Hakad Abran describing the game as the ultimate spycraft fantasy. Now, I for one am very excited about a new James Bond game. So a quick education for younger viewers, there was a time when the split-screen gaming genre was dominated by James Bond. From GoldenEye to Nightfire to even basically recreating an entire Bond film for Everything or Nothing, the series felt like it was going from strength to strength. Shockingly enough, the series was at its absolute peak when it was being developed by EA. But to be fair, the EA games Challenge Everything was in a time before EA discovered loot boxes and FIFA points. Anyways, Activision got a hold of the franchise in 2006, and that's where the series declined into nothing. Their first release was Quantum of Solace back in 2008, and we all know movie game tie-ins always deliver and are good games. Activision then went on to release James Bond 007 Bloodstone, a game I genuinely forgot existed until I did some quick research. Like their first attempt, Bloodstone also received mixed to negative reviews. And then the trifecta was complete when 007 Legends was released, a James Bond game so lazy that it turned iconic sequences across its movie history into a literal Call of Duty clone, because the storming of Fort Knox was exactly like the Battle of the Somme. Shockingly, the game performed badly. Activision paused their license agreement after destroying the gaming franchise that was James Bond, and since 2012, we've been living in a world where James Bond games don't exist. That wasn't until I only found out that IO Interactive has stepped up and released this teaser trailer back in 2020. See, we've gone full circle from the start of the video up to this point. Now, for those who don't know, IO Interactive is responsible for the Hitman franchise, with Hitman 3 being their latest release back in 2021. Although I've never actually sat down and played the games myself, I do often come across various gameplay videos and have always liked what I've seen. And based on the people who actually have played Hitman 3, so did they when the game received universal praise from both critics and gamers. Given the Hitman series is built around stealth and infiltrating areas, IO Interactive arguably already has the perfect blueprint to build from as they look to release a new James Bond game after an entire decade. And yes, while Bond does have stealth aspects, I'm much more excited to see how IO Interactive changes its approach here to deliver big action sequences as well as incorporating car missions. It's probably why I consider Everything or Nothing the absolute pinnacle of a James Bond game, simply because it took everything from the movie experience and seamlessly turns that into a video game. A James Bond game needs a good intro sequence. It needs to include high-speed car chases, awesome locations, gadgets, combat, stealth, and memorable characters. This is of course the franchise that has given us iconic characters such as Jaws and Oddjob. I know it's already been reported that the game will be closer to Craig's Bond than Moore's, but to me, it's important that the charm of old Bond films is sprinkled into this game too. But at the moment, what IO's James Bond game is going to be like is all pure speculation. It's coming up to 3 years since the release of the teaser trailer, and we're still yet to be given its official title, with the game still going under the Project 007 banner. In a finance report from IO Interactive last year, it was suggested that the company's revenue would be low for the next 2 financial years, fueling speculation that the game may be looking at a 2025 release, 13 years after 007 Legends. Naturally, I'm interested in how IO delivers their first James Bond experience. Their Bond won't be based on any previous film versions of the character. Instead, they're opting to create their own digital Bond universe from scratch. It'll be interesting to see how they go from the more sandbox gameplay of Hitman to a more linear style with James Bond, or do they stick with the sandbox formula and adapt James Bond to that? Either way, now that I know this game actually exists and is being worked on, I will be paying close attention to its ongoing development going forward. Let me know down in the comments what you want from this James Bond game, and also 99.6% of all my viewers aren't actually subscribed to the channel, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd be a good egg and quickly subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Peace.